we have good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call, but that's Andrew's call. He made the call.
A little bit nasty. So they're like, look, man, viewerships are crashing. One guy broke it down to me on Reddit. He was like, look, bro, we're not saying the fans aren't loyal. The ticket sales are high, but during the coverage, if you look at the ratings, it's been going up and down, meaning that people were turning off their television. Even though it was a close game, 16 to 15 or whatever, people were not tuned in for one.
Something's going on in Cleveland, and it's not just bad football. The Browns may have just made the most baffling move in the NFL this season. They drafted the most talked about quarterback prospect in years, and then buried him at the bottom of the depth chart, like he never existed. No reps, no snaps, no chance. We're talking about Shedeur Sanders, a name that had fans buzzing, media scrambling, and opposing defenses sweating. He's the son of a Hall of Famer, the face of a cultural wave, and a quarterback with more star power than the Browns have seen in a decade. And despite all that, they've locked him in the basement. Jimmy Haslam, the Browns' billionaire owner, is reportedly furious at fans for not being more loyal this season. But the real question is, loyal to what? An offense that can't score? A coach terrified of risk? A franchise that gets handed fireworks and runs them through a paper shredder? This isn't just a mistake. This feels like sabotage.
So you mean to tell me the Cleveland Browns listed Shedeur Sanders as inactive today? Inactive? Yo, look, man. At this point, hey, I'm a fan of Shedeur, I'm a fan of Dion, but we just need to stop caring. Because the more people actually trying to tune in to watch Shedeur, the more they ain't gonna play him, and the more they using him for clout and clickbait. They don't want the guy. The owner don't want him. The coach don't want him. The general manager don't want him. They don't want him on the team. Obviously, the NFL do not want Shiloh or Shedeur in the league, but Shedeur is good for money and ratings, or he wouldn't even be there.
Because when you've got a quarterback who sells jerseys before he even touches the field, who pulls more TV viewers than the team itself, and you still decide to keep him off the field, that's not strategy. That's a scandal. And it's exactly why Browns fans are turning, not just away from the games, but against the very people running their team into the ground. When the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders, it was supposed to mark a new chapter. The city was electric. Social media exploded. Jerseys flew off shelves. Cleveland, tired of being the league's punchline, finally had something to believe in. A young, dynamic QB with swagger, talent, and the weight of a legacy behind him. But just as quickly as the excitement peaked, he vanished. No preseason bombs, no second-team reps, not even scout team action.
I also can't blame anybody who says, I don't necessarily trust this coaching staff to develop a quarterback or to evaluate the quarterback position. They've made some really oddball decisions at this position over the last several years, and I don't blame anybody for questioning, do these guys actually know what they're doing?
I don't think that's unfair at all. The thing I would say is that they're desperate. They're very desperate. Like the entire organization is desperate. And if you really think they're going back to the coaches' offices and all getting around the table after sessions and being like, guys, Shedeur is unbelievable, but
One moment, he was the most talked about rookie in the league. The next, he was on the sideline holding a clipboard like an intern shadowing a failed internship program. And the team? Silent. No explanation. No updates. Just, he's not ready. Tossed around like a catch-all excuse fans were told to swallow and accept. But in a league that hands starts to rookies every single season, some less prepared, some with way less upside, fans saw through the excuses. This wasn't about readiness. This was about control. This sudden disappearance felt coordinated, calculated even. Drafting him brought the headlines, the clicks, the jersey sales, But playing him, that might actually change things. That might make someone in the front office look wrong. So while Shedeur was benched in silence, Cleveland's hype, the energy, the fire, the raw belief began to die. Because you can only sell next year for so many years before people start asking, when is next year supposed to become now?
Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shedeur Sanders, to finish off the 2-minute drill? Who makes that call? He makes that call. Why? Because I want the last thing people to see is the mistakes and the sacks that happen.
The fans saw through the silence, and they didn't just complain. They pushed back. It started small. A few posts on Reddit, a couple of sports radio callers venting about how #PlayShedeur needed to happen yesterday. But it didn't stop there. Because when Sunday came, something felt off. The stadium, half empty. Sections that once thundered with chants were quiet. Season ticket holders, who used to weather the snow and heartbreak like warriors, started selling their seats. And those who stayed, they weren't chanting "Let's go Browns" anymore. They were chanting "Play Shedeur." Ticket data started leaking. Ratings dipped. Even in close games, viewers were tuning out. Why? Because fans were just disappointed. They felt disrespected. They'd been promised change. They'd been sold hope. But the second it arrived in the shape of a young, electric quarterback, leadership slammed the brakes like he was a threat, not the answer. And the fans? They're tired of playing along.
You should have got out. Y'all won't win 5 games this year unless you put Shedeur Sanders in, and nobody's coming to the games. It was half full. That means it was half empty. No Shedeur, we ain't watching. Jim Haslam, I love it. You're furious. You're mad. You're pissed off. You're ticked off. There's nothing you can do because the people have spoken. Unless you put Shedeur Sanders in that game so he can win something for you, you won't get anybody coming to your games. Why? Because we don't like you and we want to see Shedeur Sanders only.
They're tired of buying tickets to a repeat rerun of misery. Tired of being loyal to a team that treats innovation like a virus and transparency like poison. So they began revolting the only way they could. Canceling season tickets, refusing to watch broadcasts, planning walkouts, turning game day into protest day. And behind all of it sits one unspoken warning. If Cleveland's ownership doesn't start listening, the fans will stop caring. Because you can rebuild a roster, you can fire a coach, but once you lose your city, you don't get that back. Here's where things get weird, really weird, because it's not just that Shedeur Sanders isn't playing. It's that no one is explaining why. No reps, no packages, no get him some experience plan. He's not even running the practice squad. It's like the Browns drafted him for the marketing and then intentionally erased him from the picture right after.
I really don't care about this game because they didn't have Shedeur out there. So realistically, I'm not watching the Browns until they put Shedeur in the game. I just looked at the stats, honestly. But when it comes to the Browns, if Shedeur is not playing, I'm not watching the Browns. And I'm going to start the petition, for real.
I was just about to say that. Are we protesting?
Yeah, I'm protesting.
I'm not mad at.
Yo, look, I'm sick and tired of seeing how the Cleveland Browns and the NFL is treating Shedeur Sanders. This right here got me hotter than fish grease. This got me hotter than Texas on an August noon when it's 111 degrees. This right here is bull dookie. I'm trying to not to curse. I'm trying to stay kid friendly. But this is crazy. Bro not even running practice squad. They say he not even practicing. He just there. Not even practice. We talking about practice.
And fans are asking the one question that unravels everything. If we didn't want him, why draft him at all? Officially, the team says he's developing. But what does that even mean? when guys like Bailey Zappi and Dylan Gabriel are getting more field time than a former Heisman candidate's son? Are we supposed to believe Shedeur suddenly forgot how to throw a football? Or maybe this has nothing to do with football. Rumors are flying all over local radio and Twitter that ownership doesn't want to admit a mistake in the depth chart, that veterans don't want the locker room power shift, that the coaching staff sees Shedeur not as a solution, but a threat to the system they've been clinging to for years. Even the front office looks split. In one interview, Jimmy Haslam acted like the pick wasn't his call. Andrew Berry made the pick. Kevin Stefanski controls playing time. Everyone's pointing fingers, but no one's giving answers. And in the absence of answers, speculation take. Some fans believe it's mismanagement. Others, they're calling it straight up sabotage, burying the one guy who could change everything so no one gets exposed. Because that's the scary part. If Shedeur thrives, someone's job is on the line. And maybe, just maybe, they'd rather protect their careers than win. What's happening on the field is only half the story. Behind the scenes, the Browns' locker room is cracking. Veterans, the guys who've been to war in this league, they want stability. They're not rooting for chaos. They're trying to protect their standing, their rhythm, their routine. To them, Shedeur represents uncertainty, a flashy newcomer who hasn't proven a thing yet in the NFL, but is already dominating headlines. To the coaching staff, especially Kevin Stefanski, he's seen as an interruption, a wild card, someone who might blow up the system he's built, even if that system has never worked in the first place. But there's another side. Oh, the younger guys? They've got eyes too. They see what's happening. They watch Shedeur in camp make impossible throws. They hear the noise online. They feel the shift in the building. And quietly, without saying it out loud, they're starting to wonder, why the hell aren't we playing him? What's building right now isn't just fan outrage. It's a locker room divide. A quiet, tense, invisible split where smiles in the hallway mask side eyes in the huddle. The veterans toe the company line. The young guns, they're holding in questions they're afraid to ask. It's like everyone is sitting at a family dinner, pretending like nothing's wrong, while the air is thick with resentment that nobody wants to say out loud. But they feel it, all of them, and nothing poisons team chemistry faster than a franchise that's afraid of its own upside. Because if the Browns don't trust their future, why should the players? At this point, Browns fans aren't asking for a miracle. They're not demanding a Super Bowl. All they've ever wanted is honesty and effort. Instead, they've been fed empty press conferences, vague injury updates, and excuses that collapse under the slightest pressure. Kevin Stefanski dodges questions like it's part of the game plan. Jimmy Haslam speaks in circles like every problem is someone else's fault. And through all of it, Shedeur Sanders, the most exciting prospect this team has had in years, continues to just stand there, helmet off, padless, holding a fucking clipboard. The stadium is no longer just quiet. It's cold. Fans who once froze through blizzards just to watch their team get stomped downfield are now bailing at halftime. Entire sections are Drake in apathy. Even diehards are saying it out loud. Why should I care if they don't? The deeper pain isn't just that the Browns are losing. It's that they're losing the exact same way over and over again and showing zero willingness to change it. They were given a shot at something new and electric, and instead, they chose old and broken. And every single week that Shedeur remains buried, fans build a mental wall. One that even a 4-game win streak might not break, because you can't cheer for something you don't believe in anymore. And right now, Cleveland doesn't believe. Not in the system, not in the coach, and sure as hell, not in the man sitting in the owner's box. Shedeur Sanders hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL. Not one. And yet, in Cleveland, he's already a legend. He's become more than a player. He's a symbol. A walking what if. A live action promise of something different. Something better. Not just talent. Hope. The kind of hope Cleveland hasn't felt in decades. Fans don't just want to see him play. They need to. Because watching him stand on the sidelines every Sunday is like watching a lottery ticket sit unscratched while the lights go out around you. He represents possibility in a franchise that's only ever delivered pain. They're picturing miracles. Shedeur commanding the offense, silencing critics, exploding on social media with highlight reels that erase years of misery in seconds. And ironically, the longer he sits, the stronger the legend grows. That puts pressure on one person, and it's not Shedeur. Because when you suppress someone for so long, when you keep hope in a cage, fans don't blame the bird if it doesn't fly right away. They blame the ones who kept it locked up. If Shedeur flops, it won't be pinned on him. It'll crash down on Haslam, on Stefanski, on the front office that waited too long and smothered a movement in its prime. Because he's not just a quarterback anymore. He's the chance they refuse, the play they wouldn't call, the risk they were too scared to take. And that fear might be the thing that destroys them. Cleveland isn't just restless anymore. It's on the edge of mutiny. This city has been patient, loyal, faithful through decades of collapses, false dawns, and heartbreak that would break any other fan base. But now, they've snacked. It's not just a few angry tweets or bitter post-game rants. This is bigger. Fans are starting protests, planning walkouts, posting photos of empty stands with #PlayShedeur scrawled across handmade banners. What used to be game day loyalty is turning into a full-blown movement, rooted in frustration, fueled by betrayal, and aimed directly at the top. And here's where things get dangerous for the Browns. This isn't just about a quarterback anymore. It's about culture. It's about trust. It's about a city that's realized its franchise would rather lose predictably than win with risk. Ownership keeps pretending the noise will die down, that fans will get over it, that loyalty is automatic. But there's a truth none of them are ready to face. You can lose games and survive, but when you lose your people, you lose everything. And right now, with every game that passes, that line gets closer. So the Browns only have two choices. Keep doing what they're doing. Play it safe, stay silent, and wait for the fan base to vanish. Or make the bold move. Break the cycle. Roll the dice on a kid who just might change everything. Because if they don't, this won't just be the worst decision the Browns ever made. It might be the one they don't recover from. This wasn't supposed to happen. Cleveland finally had the momentum, the buzz, the quarterback, the future. But somewhere between the draft and week 1, fear took over. And instead of giving the fans something to believe in, the Browns handed them a clipboard and told them to wait. How long are fans supposed to wait? They've waited through coaching disasters, quarterback carousels, losing seasons, rebrands, rebuilds, bottom outs. All for what? To finally draft a game changer and then leave him on mute? The scariest part? It's not even losing games anymore. It's losing the identity of a team that once stood for fight, for grit, for underdog energy. Now, it feels like survival mode. Whatever Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski are trying to protect, their system, their reputation, their decisions, it's coming at the full cost of the franchise's heartbeat. And fans aren't blind to it. They see Shedeur standing there, unused, untested, wasted. And all they can think is, what are we even doing anymore? So here it is, the crossroads. Either the Browns listen, finally, and take the risk, let Shedeur play, win or lose, and at least show the fans they're not scared of growth. Or They keep doing this backwards dance of silence, excuses, and stubborn pride. And watch their city turn on them for good. Because this isn't just about one player. It's about the one last shot at change. So now we ask you, do you think the Browns are intentionally holding back Shedeur Sanders? Is this pure mismanagement or something deeper? Drop a comment below. We want to hear it all. And if you're still riding with us, hit subscribe, smash that like, and share this with every Browns fan who's as fed up as you are. Because at this point, it's more than football. It's a rebellion.